So here's our product backlog. We have a number of product backlog items in it. Most of them are user stories. We have some defects and we have some spikes as well. Now, a PBI holds requirements needed to complete the project. Most are in the form of user stories. Each should describe what the customer wants and why it is valuable. The PBI should not describe how the team will develop the feature, and each PBI should describe something that is of value to the stakeholder. Now, when they're first added to the product backlog, these PBIs are normally broad descriptions of large epic areas. This is an example here. They're going to contain a title, which should be unique. Now, the format of the user story title should be decided upon by the Scrum members, and the format is often a descriptive title, a unique identifier, or a combination of both. Here, we're using both. We have US to signify this is a user story with a unique identifier, and then we have a descriptive title, Store Customer Plant Criteria from Past Purchases. The PBI will also hold a description saying who wants what and why. Here, as a marketing product owner, that's who. Sorry, bring that back up again. I want to store each customer's past transaction. That's what they want to do. And why do they want to do it? So I will know their taste and use it for direct marketing. Now, that's a well-defined user story. It's nowhere near detailed enough to be able to estimate it in any way, but it's captured the broad requirements that the marketing product owner wanted to do. And you have this hierarchy here. This hierarchy, you can have huge epics, like the CRM initiative, that can be broken up in multiple user stories. So this is showing that the parent of this user story is the epic CRM initiative. We can see over here we have 3 different user stories from that same initiative. All are very large. Now, these low priority PBIs at the bottom of the product backlog need just this information to capture the required functionality in the user story. However, when you go to the top of the backlog, these are the high priority items. These are the items that must be sprint ready, because the next sprint planning meeting, these items are going to be pulled, these high priority items, to go into the sprint backlog and be included in the next sprint. They have to be sized to fit into a single sprint with acceptance criteria clearly describing when the PBI is done. This sizing and adding of detail is done in the product grooming meeting. In the product grooming meeting, the Scrum members assess the high priority PBIs, grooming them to make them sprint ready. Now, a groomed sprint ready PBI should be concise and specific, focusing on a single slice of functionality and able to be completed within a single sprint. Here we have our normal criteria. As an online user, I want to be able to display detailed criteria about plants in the website, so I'll know if they're right for me to buy for my garden. This was probably part of a much larger user story that was split several times to make smaller, correctly sized user stories that could fit in a sprint. We've added acceptance criteria here. The detailed plan information, it needs to show all the records on the plan, including the image. Image can be zoomed and multiple images can be stored. It has to be fully tested and fully documented. So this is a single slice of functionality. It's been sized so it can fit a single sprint, and it has acceptance criteria. Now, this makes the PBI easy to understand, easy to estimate, and enables the team and product owner to write clear, definite acceptance criteria used to determine when the PBI is done. The slices at the bottom, like we saw down here, that are very large, are hard to understand and estimate and will not be clear how to determine if the PBI is done. As they get moved up in the list, as we get more done from the top and it gets top of the list gets put into the sprint backlog, they'll move up and the product grooming will split them up and make them sprint ready. Now consider, each PBI holds the requirement of what must be done, and the product owner has the responsibility of prioritizing the PBIs, with high priority items being at the top, and these are the ones that are moved into the sprint and added to the product increment. This means the product owner has the power to dictate what small slice of functionality will be added to the final product in each sprint. And each of these slices of functionality are fully described in a PBI, which includes acceptance criteria on when the development of the item is complete.